So another thing that you got to know about these guys is that when it comes to the face, everything is connected to the head. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at the head bone, for instance. If I were to click on that head bone and go Alt-X so that we can see the face and everything, you would see that I can move that head and everything goes with it. Her little wig, her eyes, her mouth, everything. So here's the problem. If I were to take this head and the rest of her skeleton for that matter and make them invisible so you just saw the character, let's say you're done posing it or animating it, then all the eyes and everything else would also disappear. Let me show you. So I've got that selected. In fact, I'll select the pelvis to make, and selecting the children's nodes and turning it all off to make everything disappear. You can see like, oh my goodness, that's just creepy, right? That's crazy. Well, let's take a look at the skeleton a little bit and maybe you'll understand a little bit more about what's going on. I'm going to turn all those back on again. So at the pelvis, if I was to go ahead and right click on it and expanding it, so expand selected right up here, you would see the whole skeleton rig. And you can see it's similar to Blocky, where it's just chain after chain after chain of thing connected one to another to another to another, but it's just more complicated. Once you get used to it, you'll find that it's really not that complicated after all. So for instance, to the pelvis, you go down and you can see here's the legs. Okay, not that complicated. The left leg, the calf, here, let's zoom out a little bit so you can actually see this. So, once again, so you have, here's the left thigh, the calf, the foot, the toes. Okay. And here's the right, and the calf, and the foot, and the toes. Okay, those are pretty simple. Up here we have the spine, okay, and all the various parts of the spine, until finally we get to the left clavicle. Actually, let me show it to you on the right clavicle, just so that it's closer. Okay, so here's the right clavicle. In other words, the shoulder. And you would see that, okay, it goes from the clavicle to the upper arm, forearm, hand. And then once you get down to the hand, you get all these fingers right here. So you can see how the pattern looks here, and then this whole mess of stuff that makes the fingers. That's for the right side, and the same thing for the left side. So we get to here, and then we get all this mess. That's the fingers on the left-hand side. Well, the head also has a very distinctive pattern. So if we were to click on the head, you would see all these different things that are connected to it. So once again, starting from the pelvis, you can see it's going down to the legs. Then you're seeing the spine, this long chain. Then you're getting to that first arm and hand. Then to the head, with all this stuff connected to it. And then to the other arm and hand. Once again, it becomes not too complicated after you get used to it. And the head itself is a really unique pattern. You can see because you have just the head and then all this stuff, the eyes, the mouth, everything, the teeth up and the down, the wig even, in other words, her hair, all connected at the same level to the head. Okay, Mr. Coon, get on with it. So, what I mean is this then, is that if I wanted to go to the pelvis and I were to select the child's nodes, the pelvis here, and if I was to turn them all off, I could then just go over here to the head, click anywhere off to the side, then click the various parts of the head. So what I did there is what we've done before, where I just click the thing at the top, held down the shift key and click the thing at the bottom. That'll give you a whole list. And then I could just turn those back on. And you'll see that she's more or less back to normal now. We don't see it. And everything looks pretty good. What I'd like you to do for this one is I'd like you to bring in a cat character and bring in a chair, if you have not done so already. And then just pose that character and then save the picture. Now put her into into a natural pose, and it could be a chair, it could be one of the beds, it could be whatever, maybe leaning against a car, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And then save it like this. So what I want you to do is after it's posed, here, let's take just a second to put her arm into a more natural position. So here we go. I'll just say here, and selecting the children, turn that back on. Okay, take this arm here, and maybe bring it down a little bit. And maybe find that shoulder that's in there. Bring that down a little bit. This arm, we'll bring it up a little bit. And the forearm, bring that over a little bit. And her wrist over a little bit. Maybe back a little bit. Okay, I think we're getting there. Maybe that head, bring that over a little bit. And so we've got all that. We're going to select the pelvis, select the children, turn them all off. Crazy, where'd all the head stuff go? Well, we know it's right over here. So I'll click off to the side. I'll find all that stuff that's connected to the head. Turn it back on. Much better. Okay, so there we go. And to save it. Now I'm going to go over here to my render setup. And I'm going to change it to HDTV. I'm going to make it medium resolution. And I'm going to close that. I'm going to go to my save frames, so Shift F. Find a shot that I like. Maybe showing as much as possible, just so that I can see that everything's natural. I wanted to see that her feet were on the ground, for instance, that her hands was looking good. Everything's just fine for now. And once I've got that, then I could go ahead and I could take a picture. Oh, this is just saying that it doesn't know where the pictures are for the chair. Yours should work out fine. If not, you could always get a hold of me. So I'm just going to say continue because it's really not that important. And there she is sitting in the chair. That's fine. I'm going to save it. So save as. And then right now, I'm in my student drive, right? So I want to go to my computer and find the T drive. Now I'm at home, so it's going to look a little different. But, I'd go to the T drive. I'd go to art. And I would go to period 1. In period 1, find the project 4 cat character. And save it just like you saved the file. So with your last name, your first name, project 4A, capital CAT, and character. The format will be a JPEG. And say OK. And that's it. Now you're done. And in the next tutorial, I'll show you how to animate it, because animating these guys is a little bit different than just posing them.